Please, let's take our seats. Asanteni sana. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Let me take this opportunity to welcome all of you to this evening's town hall here in Kisumu, Pacho. Or is it Kisumu, Dala? I am very happy to be in this great city of Kisumu. I will be here for the next 2 days because I chose to come and engage on matters development of the counties in this region, focusing on the issues that are important to us as a nation, issues of food security, issues of infrastructure, issues that touch on matters of developing our human resource capital around Kenya. And I'm very happy that we've had an engagement with the leaders, with the people of this region. I know in the context of where we are today, many people have come to appreciate that we are now in a dispensation called broad-based government. And many people are wondering where this broad-based and what it means, where it came from and what it means. Let me take this opportunity, because it's the first time we're engaging in this manner, to say one or two things. I am a great believer of the unity of Kenya. In my political journey, I have endeavored to work with all regions, all communities in Kenya. And 2022 was an election at a different level. Many people engaged in 2022, and we had two political formations that had an array of people from across Kenya in both political formations. It was a good election because for the first time, that election was about issues. We were prosecuting issues. And in that election, I was elected by the grace of God in a way that many people did not believe, because communities that had been accused for a very long time of not being able to vote for other communities changed in 2022. And we got a new dispensation. In fact, the message that came out of 2022 is that the curtains on the politics of ethnicity had come down, and that henceforth we are going to move as a country, as a united country, democratic, and us understanding where we all want to go. When the opportunity arose for me to consider broadening the administration that I run, I could not miss that opportunity, because I know the value of making every Kenyan feel that they belong. And it is the reason why I took the opportunity to create a broad-based government, because it has always been in my scheme of things how to bring Kenyans together. Even though it came as a result of a situation that was uncomfortable for many people. But they say in every cloud there's a silver lining. And in every challenge there is an opportunity. it depends on where you focus. Either you focus on the challenge or you focus on the opportunity. The opportunity we have today is the opportunity to unite the people of Kenya. And I must say that I am very proud of this moment, that we as the people of Kenya, from all communities, all regions, including political formations, without compromising our democracy, we can have a sense of feeling that we all belong to an administration, and we can all focus on that which unites us and gives us an opportunity to make progress than the things which divide us. And so I have come to this region from Migori to engage on many aspects. As you know, this lake region is a region that has tremendous opportunity. In my plan, the blue economy, which contributes about 20 billion shillings every year, it is my intention to raise the contribution of our blue economy from 20 billion to 100 billion. And for us to do that, we need to do a couple of things. Number one, we need to build blue economy infrastructure. As you're all aware, we are investing 1.5 billion shillings in building 10 fish landing sites in Lake Victoria, from Busia through Siaya, here in Kisumu, in Homa Bay, all the way to Migori. In fact, yesterday, when I met the leadership of Migori, they were asking me when the Muhuru fish landing site is going to begin, the construction is going to begin, and the Got Achola is going to begin, both of them in Migori. And I remember telling the leaders there when we met last evening that the ministry responsible is undertaking public participation, and in the next 2 months or so, and I think the PS for Blue Economy is here, she can confirm, in the next 2 months or so, the construction of those facilities will join the others that we have already constructed. I know the one for Sori has already been completed. I know some of the ones in Kisumu have been completed, because we want to build infrastructure. That's number one. Number two, we need to deal with the challenge of fingerlings and the fish stock in our waters. And we need to replenish, because the more we fish, the fewer the stocks are. It is the reason why I came to Kabonyo here. And we have a project of 1 billion shillings to have a major fish program here that will help us develop at least 7 million fingerlings, PS, 7 million fingerlings per quarter. High quality fingerlings, both for our farmers and also for us to restock Lake Victoria. The other item is fish feed. I think there is also a challenge there where we are looking at the cost. And many of the people involved in that space have been telling us the fish feed is a bit expensive. So we are working with companies to see how we can reduce the cost of fish feed so that we can encourage more farmers to do fish farming. Number three is to discourage exports. When I came here, the last time I was here, many people in Kisumu were selling fish from China and other places. And I said then that we cannot continue in that trajectory. It's the reason why last year we banned the imports of fish from other countries and instead encourage our own local production and fishing of fish in Kenya. A few people made noise at me that why was I banning fish from other countries. It is the right thing to do because we can develop our own food in Kenya. The fourth issue we are doing in that space is also to develop the human capital that will help us grow our capacity, both for fishing, fish farming, and everything else, the ecosystem around fishing. I'm very happy that tomorrow I will be opening the Kenya Marine School here in Kisumu. That is going to help us train more people in the fishing ecosystem, coxswains, and everything around fishing, how we are going to go ahead with our business in fishing. And the fifth thing that I think is important for us to unlock the potential of our blue economy. How do we move our blue economy from its contribution of 20 billion, 100 billion? The fifth issue is to make sure that we reduce on the people we lose in the lake. As you are aware, we lose close to 5,000 people in Lake Victoria every year because of the kind of kiosks they are using, the boats they are using, the capsizing that takes place. Again, tomorrow, as a region, as an East African region, we are going to be launching tomorrow a rescue center that will have all the necessary facilities, including further down the road, a chopper that can be used to rescue people who have accidents, who have accidents in Lake Victoria. If we make fishing safe, we can encourage more people to do fishing. And there are other interventions that we are working on as a government to make sure that as we focus on how to unlock the potential in fishing, we are building the necessary infrastructure, human capital support for us to drive that, because it is important, not just for our economy, it is also important for our food security. As you know, we're importing many things and things we can be growing in Kenya, among them fish. Let me say two more things so that I don't monopolize this town hall. The other thing that I am focused on, and it's part of why I came here, is the irrigation potential in this region and the opportunity that we have for rice production, sugarcane production, palm oil production, and many of the other oil crops production in this region. Yesterday, I was in Kuja. You know that project has stalled for the last 7 years, and it was over a small thing. We've managed to sort it out, and yesterday we started phase 2 of Kuja. Kuja phase 1 had close to 7,000 acres. We are now moving phase 2, which is going to give us 12,000 acres of irrigable land, and farmers are going to produce more rice, more sugarcane, and more oil crops. Again, that program needs to be expanded in Homa Bay. We need to look at the opportunities we have here in Kisumu. We need to look at the opportunities we have in Siaya. I had an engagement last evening with the leadership from Siaya, and we have agreed on a program on how we are going to do this. I will also, yesterday, be commissioning a rice mill here in Kibos that was built by Lake Basin as part of building the infrastructure to support our rice farming. Because as you know, We spend 500 billion shillings every year to import food into Kenya. We import rice, we import sugar, we import maize, we are importing edible oil, and these are crops that we can grow. These are produce that we can grow here in Kenya, and we need necessary support for us to get our farmers producing. I know sometimes people think it is easier to subsidize consumption. It is my belief, firm belief, that the way to food security in Kenya is supporting production. And that is what I will do. It is the reason why we must also sort out the issues of sugar in this region. And as I gave you my commitment, it is only that there are mischievous people who have taken us to court. Otherwise, we would have sorted out the issues in Chemelil, in Muhoroni, because we must get a new model to unlock the potential of all our sugar mills, all the way from Sony Sugar, Muhoroni, Chemelil, all the way to Nzoia in Bungoma. But I want to give you my commitment that we have now the template on how to do it. Hopefully we manage to get the matters out of court in the next 1 or 2 months, and then we will be on the way to sorting out those issues. You're also aware that we have had, I think, a 20-year tussle over Miwani. But finally, we're going to resolve it this year. We have done everything else that was required so that we can sort it out and focus on the production of sugar in Kenya, because we are importing, we are spending our foreign exchange importing products that we can actually grow here in Kenya. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am happy to engage with you this evening. I do not want to say more than that. Let me stop there. I know it was the wish of the people of Kisumu to engage with me so that I can take questions directly from you and you can get answers directly from me. Okay. I will take the first question. Maybe I start here. Nani yako na maswali? Kama hauna maswali ni sawa. Yes, somebody here has if you can favor me with your name.
Your Excellency, my name is Evans Ongati. I have 2 questions. One, as we all know that in your better agenda, housing is one of your key priorities. And as it stands now, you are at 2 million units that you want to achieve. And at the moment, your government promised that you'll be doing around 200,000 units per annum. I would wish to know that so far, we are in the second, third year. How far are we in that regard? That is number 1. Number 2, my concern is on what we call manufacturing sector. We know that manufacturing sector contributes around 8.4% of the national GDP. And here in Kisumu or Nyanza region, we had a manufacturing farm at Kikomi that has since collapsed for a long time. What is your government going to do to ensure that manufacturing sector is revived in the entire Nyanza and more specifically in Kisumu, just to cushion us on the issues of employment and what we call agricultural aspects that will ensure that we have food security taken care of within Nyanza region. I thank you, sir.
Very much. Let me take a question from this row here. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, His Excellency. Karibu sana Kisumu. Yeah, my name is Dr. Ojijo from Maseno. How does your government plan to address the current challenges that the current new university funding models possess for both lecturers and students, particularly in terms of adequate compensation for academic staffs and salaries and job positions and affordable access to quality of education? Where are we now and why now, Mr. President? I know the question has been asked and you've been answering it severally, but I'm concerned as a lecturer and as a parent, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll take a question from this end.
Thank you very much. My name is Dick Osala. I'm going to ask you a question that relates to development, specifically our roads here in Kisumu. There are several roads that have stalled and we do not know why. I wish you were transacting this area using roads so that you are able to see the condition of the roads. I know tomorrow you'll be in Siaya. Kindly use the Luanda-Siaya highway so that you see what we are talking about. What plan do you have for the roads in Siaya? And finally, Mr. President, 2 weeks ago you unveiled your cabinet. I did not see any minister who is below 30 years of age or whose worth is maybe 10,000. All people that were there were 400 million and above. Yona, if you don't have someone who is worth 10,000, I am here, Yona. I'm very intelligent. I can take that one.
Thank you very much, Dick. Yes.
Hello. Thank you very much, Mr. President. My name is Catherine Achieng Ouma. I am a trader at the CBD and at the same time a politician. I want to ask you a political question. Today we are here as different parties and we have welcomed you very well and you've seen it in most areas of this region. And today we can coexist peacefully, UDA and even Azimio. My question is, will you collaborate with Baba in 2027? My second question, as the traders at the CBD concerning the shipyard area, His Excellency, when the shipyard was being made, thousands of businesses were destroyed. Today, at this moment in time, if you walk around Akambalene, it is a dead town. And it is posing a security threat. Our question, can your government do a walling in that area and restore the 24-hour economy that was happening in that area? Thank you very much.
Let me take a question from here.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. My name is Sospita Ubungowich. I'm the famous president of the Sufuria Revolution movement. You remember during the anti-government demonstrations about the finance bill 2023-2024, it is me who was putting the Sufuria on my head, who you are complaining about. Today, I'm very glad, Mr. President, that we are welcoming you here in Kisumu and feel most welcome. We love you. You are our brother. And we will always support you. Iler Kaka Pamba. Mr. President, my question is political. We suffered the last 2 years because your deputy was telling us the government was for shareholders. With broad-based government, do you still appease the shareholders? 2, Mr. President, as young people, during the demonstrations in 2020, during the demonstrations that was touching on the finance bill 2023-2024, and 2024-2025. Most youths died during that process. Quite a number have been abducted and their families can still not trace them. Quite a number are still suffering out of the injuries that they got through the police brutality. My question is this: what is your plan? Do you have any form of compensation to the families that suffered during the demonstrations? Because as the president of the Kenya Bunge la Wananchi Caucus, the leadership that the face that represent the young people, we have always been talking very categorically, and we are saying that we want your government to see to it that the young people that suffered during the demonstrations are well taken care of, and that is our request as young people. And lastly, as I finish, Your Excellency, we want to thank you very much for embracing broad-based government and for agreeing to work together with our party leader, His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga, and supporting his bid for AUC. That we are saying that we are very happy about that. On the side of the broad-based, we are happy that you considered our people, though the Luos did not vote for you, but you considered our people and gave them very important positions in your government. Here in Kisumu, kindly consider us because we don't have anything good as people of Kisumu. And on the Bunge la Wananchi, kindly consider the Bunge la Wananchi because we also suffer and we also exist in part of the struggle. Your Excellency, I'm jobless. Consider me. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sospita. Let me start with Evans. Evans has asked me about housing. Housing is a very important project, as we all know. In fact, the argument I normally put across is that on this one subject of housing, we should all be united, because the housing program was in the Azimio manifesto. It was on the Kenya Kwanza manifesto. I find it strange that there are people who want to oppose it for the sake of opposing. But I am happy that this program is now underway in many parts of the Republic of Kenya. In fact, among the things that I will be doing here in Kisumu on Saturday is to launch the 2,000 houses that we are building in, what's the name of that place? Lumumba, in Lumumba Estate here. And we are currently, just to give Evans the statistics, we are currently building 108,000. We have 40,000 in the pipeline. We have already an extended, in terms of trying to find land to construct, another 200,000. This is a program that, as you know, Evans, is started onto a lot of challenge. We've been taken to court so many times. It has been stopped here, stopped there, because there are people who cannot see the value of housing. Housing does 4 things for us. Number 1, housing gives us jobs. As I talk to you now, right from Lumumba here and across Kenya, we have 160,000 Kenyans working in the housing plan. Kenyans who were not working before we started this housing program. So it is a place where we will create jobs. And those jobs will keep increasing as we go step by step. For the next 20 years, we will be creating jobs from this housing plan. Number 2, it gives us an opportunity to dignify Kenyans with dwellings that are decent. Today, we have 7 million Kenyans who live in slums in our towns, in very undignified, with no toilets, no running water, no electricity, no roads, people living in squalor. And let me tell you, and as I tell the rest of Kenya, The National Housing Corporation, the housing law in Kenya was passed the same time it was passed in Singapore. Today, in Singapore, 95% of Singaporeans own a home. The opposite is that in Kenya, we have 7 million people living in slums because we didn't want to do the right thing about it. We are now starting to do the right thing. And you know, this is what Singapore did for them to change the fortunes of their country. Number 3, it helps us to reduce land fragmentation. I overflew yesterday. I was with the governor of Migori yesterday. And we could see clearly that the amount of settlements in Migori County, in Homa Bay County, unless we do something about it, we will shortly have no land to do our agriculture, because the amount of land fragmentation that is going on is alarming. And therefore, this program is going to slow and possibly reverse the whole subject of land fragmentation in Kenya. So, and of course, it will stimulate our economy. We will not only create jobs, we will expand our manufacturing, those manufacturing doors, those manufacturing windows, those manufacturing hinges, the manufacturing around steel, the manufacturing around timber, and the whole space of cement, traders, transporters. Many people will be in that ecosystem. So that is what we are doing in housing, Evans. Number 2, you have asked me about another very important subject, manufacturing. It is the reason why in the last finance bill, we had actually said anything that we can manufacture in Kenya, let us not import. You know, we're just destroying our own country. Because if we become a supermarket for other countries, how will we create jobs locally? It is the reason we are investing more money in cotton. You've just said, given a good example of Kikomi. Kikomi collapsed because all of us went to import mitumba, and so there was no place to sell anything that we are producing locally. So that is a space we must work on. It is the reason why we need, as Kenyans, be bold enough to say the things we can produce in Kenya, let us not import. Let us have duty on things that we can produce in Kenya. Let me give you one example, Evans. In 2023-2024 finance bill, we put a 17.5% levy on importation of clinker and steel billets. Do you know what happened? We reduced the importation of clinker by 95%. And 11 companies that had closed down have come back to production. And 16,000 Kenyans got jobs. On just one subject, on steel. 11 companies of steel that had closed down came back because they could now make money producing steel locally. So there is value in us using some of our tax measures to promote our own manufacturing. Because I went to open, let me give you another example. I went to open a cement factory in West Pokot. A good Kenyan had invested 45 billion in a cement manufacturing plant in West Pokot, employing 2,500 Kenyans and another almost 3,000 drivers, conductors, and many other things. Now, that factory is not just hiring Kenyans. We have now reduced, as I told you, importation of cement or clinker by 95%. And do you know what is this clinker we are importing? And do you know how much money we saved? we saved 100 billion shillings of imports of clinker. And let me tell you, clinker is just stones. You know, we have our own stones here, limestone. All you need to do is to go and burn it to 100,000 degrees, and then it becomes clinker. Explain to me, the great people of the great city of Kisumu, why should we go and import stones from other countries and pay 100 billion when we can choma our own stones here and create the clinker that we are looking for? Does it make sense? Sini ujinga? Ama mnaonaje? So really, and you know, these are the kind of decisions we have to make. And you know the good news, I'm very happy. The good news is that the companies who were complaining to us about the duty we had put for importation, in 1 year, they came back and said, you guys, you did the right thing, don't remove that duty. Because they were now investing in manufacturing. So I want to promise you, Evans, as I do, Kenyans, we will continue to make the decisions that will encourage our own local manufacturing, as opposed to us being a supermarket for importation of products from other countries. We export our jobs, we export our foreign exchange, and we export our opportunities, even to create wealth. It is better when we are having companies in Kenya that are creating wealth, because that is Kenyan wealth. Ojijo, my good friend from the university, is asking me about the university funding model. Let me tell you that the university funding model is something that I am very clear about. It is time. You remember, in fact, I was with your Vice Chancellor. Your Vice Chancellor, by the way, supports the new funding model because he runs the university and he knows the challenges of running university without money. You know? And it is because the old model bankrupted our universities. When I came into office, the first thing that came on my table is that 23 universities out of 40 public universities, 23 of them were bankrupt, technically insolvent, because they had debts from here, I don't know to where. And not small debts. We owed 51 billion shillings to private universities and 137 billion shillings to public universities, because we didn't make the right decisions. Now we decided that we are going to have a model that is student-centered. We know this student is going to do medicine. We know how much medicine costs. We must then fund that student to do medicine to the full. We know this student is doing education. We must fund that student for that course to be achieved. But if you have a student doing medicine, it requires 600,000, and you give him 200,000, you will end up with a half-baked student. And by the way, Bwana Ochijo, do you know that we are in the second year of implementation of this? And the first year was phenomenal. If you ask any vice chancellor, anybody who is running an university, they are telling you this model is way superior. And in fact, in 4 years, it is my plan that every university will be able to run its affairs without the challenges they have today. And they can pay lecturers, they can pay their suppliers, because today, when last year, many universities, in fact, they said in the meeting we had in Nairobi, many universities have never paid full salary because we weren't giving them enough money. It is the reason why I have put more money in university education. In fact, I have put 127 billion shillings more to education because I believe we must get education right. If we don't get education right, we will get nothing right in Kenya. We must make sure that we get it right. It is also the reason why I have hired 56,000 teachers in the last 1 year. Last year, we hired 56,000 teachers. It is because education is important. It is also the reason why, end of this year, we will hire another 20,000 teachers. Because education is what makes us equal. And if we don't get education right, we will get very few things right. It is very important that I can explain to you in greater detail the university funding model, but I think to a great extent there is a consensus that we have a funding model now, student-centered, that will help us transition from the difficulties our education system, especially at the university, have had into the future. And I am very confident that we will get the relevant understanding between parents and students and lecturers and university management for us to move into the future. I am happy, Bwana Ojijo, I am happy if you have some suggestions to improve on that model. We are open because we want a good idea that we have to give way to a better idea if you have. So we are ready to engage. Bwana Dick pale ameniuliza mambo ya barabara. It's a very important subject, Bwana Dick. And I agree with you, we have many stalled roads. I want to tell you that we weren't very measured in the way we gave out contracts, because we now have roads that are in the region of 900 billion that we have issued. We have 150 billion shillings that are already outstanding, work done and not paid. So that is something that is eating my head. And I have tried to work out a mechanism. We have in the budget 56 billion shillings this year. I managed to get about 40 billion shillings from China. I am working with other development partners on how we are going to turn around this road thing. I was, yesterday and today, I was in this region to unlock some of the roads that were stalled. And I want to give you my commitment that all those roads that were stalled, we are not going to start any new roads until we complete the ones that we have already, that are already stalled. Many people want to push me to say, why don't you start new roads that will have your signature? I'm not interested in having my own signature. I'm interested in building the roads that are already there, because they are Kenyan roads irrespective of who started them. That will be my trajectory. Catherine Ochieng has said, I talked about 2027. She said she's a politician, and that's very good. I am also one. And she said she's asking me, what is going to happen in 2027? I want to tell Catherine, I am more concerned about what is happening or what will happen to our next generation. 2027 will sort itself out. I want to tell you that the mistake sometimes we make as politicians is always to focus at the next general election. Of course, the next general election is important. But I want to tell you that if we are consumed merely focusing about the next general election, we will never make the right decisions. We must be bold enough to make the right decisions, because sometimes the right decisions are not very popular. And you know, when the right decisions are not popular, you are forced to make the wrong decisions merely because you are concerned about the next election. And that is how we have never made the decisions to change our country. By the way, I intend to make the difficult decision to change Kenya. That is my focus. Even the forming of the broad-based government, many people did not expect me to do that. But I did it because I know for us to be able to implement the most critical decisions that will change Kenya, we need a broader political formation. It is important that we sacrifice some space for us to have a broader foundation, for us to be able to do the heavy lifting that will make Kenya progress. I am very clear that 2027 is going to sort itself out. Just watch this space. On the shipyard, I don't have a direct answer on what to do with the shipyard. I have taken the information you have told me. I will have a conversation with the county government so that we know exactly what to do around the shipyard. I do not have the real information now as to what actually became of the 24-hour economy around the shipyard. I know for a fact that the shipyard is an important component of the development of Kisumu as a town, but that should not compromise on the incomes of Kenyans who are benefiting from the space around there. So that is homework for me, Catherine. I hope you don't mind. I can go and do some homework. Yeah? Sawa sawa. And then Sospita. Are you a shareholder? Let me tell you, Sospita, that we all agreed, yeah, that we are all shareholders of this country, each and every one of us. Every Kenyan has a right. Every taxpayer has a right. And I want to promise you that we have agreed, all of us, that we must get rid of the politics of ethnicity, the politics of exclusion, the politics that creates divisions amongst us. And that is why I took the earliest opportunity to create a broad-based government, because I believe in the unity of Kenya. And I believe every Kenyan, whether they voted for me or did not vote for me, not only deserves development, but they can also get a position in my government. If it was strictly the people who voted for me, you know, the situation would be different. So I just want to give you assurance. You need to relax. There will be no exclusion on account of how you voted. We're going to move together as a country. On the people who demonstrated, you have told me that there are people who were abducted. My good friend Sospita, I made a commitment to the people of Kenya, and I want to look you in the face, that under my administration, I do not want a situation where a Kenyan disappears. There were days when people were found 20, 30 in Rivayala here, executed. I want to promise you and to promise the people of Kenya that under my administration, there will be no Kenyans in Rivayala or any other river or in any other place. If, my good friend Sospita, and I am here, if there is a family, any family, that their child or their friend or their relative went to a demonstration, whether it is last year or this year, and never came back, I want to know the names, because I will take firm and decisive action. Because as I talk to you today, I don't have a single name of somebody who has been abducted or disappeared. And the Minister for Interior, the PS for Interior is here, Raymond. If Sospita, kama uko na jina, mtu alienda maandamano, akapotea, hajulikani mahali yuko, tunataka jina yake, familia yake wakuje, patia huyu mungwana hiyo majina, we will deal with that situation. Because Kenyans have a right and freedom of association, right? Within the parameters of the law. And no Kenyan should be subjected to any inhuman treatment because of their political persuasion. The other subject you have said is what are we going to do with those who are injured? Again, we are developing a framework because I made a commitment to the people of Kenya that we are going to consider those who went through, especially the people who died in the demonstrations, how we are going to support their families to make sure that these people are attended to. Again, we are working, the Ministry of Interior is working. I assembled the cabinet the other day. They are working on the numbers, and we will see how we are going to work together on that program. I think those are the questions that were asked. I will take another round of questions. I will start now from here. Yes, there is a lady there.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Beatrice Amondi, founder of Jomanadada Foundation, and also the current vice chairperson of the ruling party for this great county. First, I'd like to commend you for listening to the plight of Kenyans that led to the withdrawal of the finance bill. Secondly, on Tuesday, the ambassador of the United States to Kenya, White Man Meg, disclosed that they have cancelled our loan, which is at 131 billion Kenyan shillings. So I'm wondering, Mr. President, what plans do you have for the finance bill?
Thank you very much, Beatrice. Can we take somebody from here? Yes, my friend.
Good evening, Mr. President, and good evening, Kenyans. My name is Vincent Kabisai. I come from somewhere called Nyalenda, Kisumu East. I have a few questions. First of all, Mr. President, allow me to ask what the government's plans for Harambee Stars when it comes to 2027 AFCON, being that some stadia are still not completed. Secondly, Mr. President, still talking about the Harambee Stars, will we be having a new coach, a local coach, or a coach, an international coach, say Mourinho? Mr. President, besides the infrastructure, which is good for national development, we have something called national discipline. The other day at Lower Kabete, I saw the engagement that you had with the county commissioners, and it was impressive. It's a step in the right direction, if at all we are to move forward as a country, because there are a lot of repeals that have been done when it comes to the national administration. So, Mr. President, let me talk about the police. You go to the police station, and nowadays some police stations have turned to become shops. You go to the police station and you are asked to pay, say, 1,000 shillings just to lodge a complaint. It is a grave concern. It is something that I've witnessed, and I think that should not happen. My suggestion is that in the very spirit of having ICT hubs, these police stations should have Wi-Fis, and they should have CCTVs. They should have CCTVs, Mr. President. I think that is also a step in the right direction. Talking about water, I know this is it is a devolved function. But water is being regulated by WASREB up there. Lake Victoria is just around the corner. And yet, the tariff that Kisumu is using has been repealed. The tariff was revised in 2002 on an incremental tariff. At the moment, for the first 6 units, you realize that Kisumu residents have to pay 83 shillings per cubic meter. For the next 14 units, that is 6 up to a consumption of 20, they have to pay 121 shillings per cubic meter. And then from 21 up to 50, they have to pay, it's incremental. Previously, Mr. President, we used to pay better rates. So the residents are asking, why should they pay so much for water, and yet Lake Victoria is just here around the corner, especially people from low-income settlements such as Nyalenda, Obunga, and Manyata?
Thank you very much.
Last but not least...
No, because we are so many.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me take one more from this side.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is a great honor to stand in front of you today. I think I will be the youngest person speaking after every other speaker. I'm Omolo Victor Otieno from Maseno University. I'm a former president and I'm also University Student Organization Academic Secretary. Mr. President, I want to bring my issue in the line of teachers. Currently, we are seeing a lot of things going on in the teachers sector. Mr. President, I know teachers in here may not want to tell you, but earning as low as 17,000 shillings do not really dignify the work that they are doing, because, Mr. President, teachers are the reason as to why we are all sitting here today. Again, Mr. President, I was very keen in your speech. You mentioned that teachers have been hired, 20,000 this year and 56,000 last year. My question is, have they been confirmed that they are really working, the ones who have been hired? Mr. President, going away from the issue of teachers, as I finish, as a young person from the university students have been crying day and night about the issue of democracy in this nation. Mr. President, when we decide to promote democracy from all institutions, from all angles, we should consider universities too. The kind of electoral process that is in the university is alarming. We disregard the delegate system, and Mr. President, we request, these are a special request from the comrades of this great nation, that you may bring us back to the mass voting system, Mr. President, so that we elect leaders that we can really count in. Mr. President, thank you so much. As I am the young person, I know that you are looking for jobs for young people, the Gen Zs. I'm one of them, Mr. President. I will appreciate your chance.
Asante sana, Victor. Which way are we going?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is Yvonne Awuor-Ogola. I am an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, practicing in Kisumu. Your Excellency, my question to you this evening is on the health sector. Your Excellency, as you are aware, there is a monster that has crept in. Cancer and diabetes are killing us day and night. And nowadays, diabetes is not even for only the old people, even the young people. Yesterday I was reading about a 10-year-old who died of diabetes. Your Excellency, NHIF is not helping. The medication is very expensive. What plans do you have for us so that the victims of these diseases can get quality and affordable medication?
Thank you very much, Madam Yvonne. Let's take one from here. I don't know. Maybe this gentleman here, right here in front.
Thank you, Excellency. My name is Richard Ogendo, Secretary General, Kenya Sugarcane Growers Association. Richard Ogendo. Two questions. As I heard you in your opening statement, as you are enumerating about the infrastructure on fishing, what I didn't hear is what we are doing to the fish farmers. Fish farmers, you're building the fishing infrastructure, the landing bays, and everything around it. And yet where we stand here, this mile is owned by Lake Basin. Less than 3 kilometers away, they have a fingerling development site. Could your government consider giving the fish farmers loans and grants so that as they wait for the Kabonyo site to be operational, then they can enjoy the facilities that Lake Basin has to offer. My second question goes to in the sugar sector. This region is known for its vibrant sugar sector. Unfortunately, over the years, this has been neglected. Your government was good enough to give us subsidized fertilizer. Then God was also good enough to give us more rains. So we produced more cane. We have ended up with a problem of surplus, which is also in rice. So in terms of policy interventions, what is your government doing to cushion farmers? That is one. That is for sugar and rice. Number three, sorry. When you were the Minister for Agriculture, you initiated the quality-based payment system, the cane testing units, which your government has spent billions on it. And every time regulations want to be put in place, there are people who run to court. Now this denies farmers their livelihoods. What is your government putting in place again in terms of policy to make sure that the regulations are published, number one, and that the CTUs, the cane testing units, begin operation immediately so that farmers, sugarcane farmers, can benefit from them? Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. All right, maybe I should start with you, my good friend Richard. You've asked me, we are doing all things around infrastructure. What are we doing for farmers? Two things, fish farmers, two things. Kabonyo, where we are investing $1 billion shillings, is going to give farmers, fish farmers, very good quality fingerlings at a subsidized price. Is that correct, PS? Yeah? So that is what we are doing for farmers, number one. Number two, we also are working on a grant of 450 million shillings, targeting fish farmers, the BMUs and all the people in that ecosystem, to support them. The same, you've just asked about the grant. So we have a grant facility that the ministry is running, and my Minister for Blue Economy will be in this region, I think, in the next week or two. I think he was here already. And we are having a conversation with the fish farmers on how they are going to access this grant. So those are the two things we are doing for fish farmers. Fingerlings, and also making sure that we organize some grant for them to be able to support their fish farming activities. On what you said, you know, I had a difficulty initially. When we made subsidized fertilizer available, there were brokers in some of the sugar companies. I'm sure if you've been there long enough, you will know. They actually refused sugarcane farmers to access subsidized fertilizer from government. I'm very happy that we are beyond that challenge. And as you say, this year, we have really made progress in matters cane farming. The subsidized fertilizer and rains have given us additional production. We are not yet at the production where we can stop all the imports, but at least we've slowed down on the imports of sugar into Kenya. And the prices have also come down significantly because we can produce more. But you have made a solid point around what are we doing about surplus. Surplus is a very positive problem. I was actually, I met the chair of the rice farmers in Kuja, and he told me exactly the same thing. What are we doing to make sure that the rice farmers, who I am told in just that irrigation program in Kuja, they have 800 tons that has been in their stores for the last 6 months. I instructed National Cereals and Produce Board to buy that rice and give it to our special programs for distribution to citizens who are under our ASAL and arid and semi-arid program, where we are supplying food to Kenyans around Kenya. So what we are doing, to answer your question directly, we are connecting the government program that has about 1 million Kenyans that we are giving food in different parts of the country. We are connecting that purchase to farmers so that farmers have a direct market. Because if we do not have a market for farmers, then we will end up with a problem. We will discourage farmers from producing. So I gave assurance to the farmers in Kuja, as I give assurance to others, that we are going to make sure that there is a market infrastructure program that will support farmers so that as they produce, they don't go into losses. On what you have said about cane testing, the cane testing units, it is true. We agreed that we must pay farmers on sugar content, not on the weight of everything that they carry to the place. But you know that there are characters who have gone to court. They've stalled that process for a very long time. But in the new program that we are rolling out, the one again that is in court, I don't know, we have a problem in court. When we unlock it from court, we will make sure that this time program, when we have a leasing program, we will make sure that we capture all the elements so that it becomes much more easy for us to implement payment on sugar content.